This is what I'm calling my weekend warrior setup. So to start out, we're going to start out with someone probably plays like a handful of times a year with their buddies, could easily have as their setup. This is the Footjoy Flex. This is the first golf shoe I ever got. This is the Callaway Supersoft, which is the most common ball bought on Amazon. And this is Taylormade R15 driver. I believe it's about 12 years old now. So I said this is like the weekend warrior setup. We're going to smash this, see how far it goes, and then we're going to spend $300 on upgrades and see how much distance we can buy. All right, starting out with the weekend warrior setup, we got the Taylormade R15. We got the Footjoy Flex. I'll give you the actual specifics of what those are. And then we got the most popular ball on Amazon, which is the Callaway Supersoft. So in my head, I thought, hey, this is like a common setup people could be playing that play handful 10 times a year. So we're gonna start with this, see how much distance we can get, and then we're gonna upgrade everything and see how much distance you can buy. At 289 off the rip, 160.3. $277. So it looks like with this setup, if we can break 300, that'll be pretty good. $296. Honestly, a lot of those felt pretty smashed, so I think it's definitely gonna be tough to break 300 with this. $288. $280. $283. $283 again, or all right, final 6 balls with the weekend warrior setup. Let's see if we can't get 300 out of one of these. All right, 288 low in the face. Somehow that was like one of my fastest balls too. $287. So the distance is very consistent with this, but it's just not far. $307. All right, we got one over 300. All right, 3 more balls. $308. All right, I found it. Found the zone. Final ball. All right, $308 again. So that 3-ball best is pretty spot on, $308. All right, here's my upgraded golf equipment, my $300 of performance I bought. Let's start out with probably the most important one. We upgraded the ball. This is the Srixon Z XV. When I bought these, it was buy 2 dozen, get 1 free, so quite affordable for a high-end tour performance level ball. Next up, we have the Adidas Adizero ZG. This is Adidas's top-of-the-line spikeless golf shoe. I got these for $55. Depending on the color and size you get, you can still find them for like 60 bucks. All right, the final upgrade we have is the Cobra LTDx LS driver. And this thing, I think you can buy it like good condition for like $200. So we're gonna say total setup was 300 bucks. So let's see how much distance this thing adds. All right, we are on the paid for distance setup now. We have way better shoes, which I haven't worn those other shoes in forever. And man, they have no stability side to side. I feel like my foot was just folding every which way. We got an upgraded ball. This is the Srixon Z XV, which I believe is their firmest ball. And then we have a Cobra LTDx LS. So none of these things are the most expensive things you can buy. These are all, I would say, like budget high-end items. So you can get these at a great discount on the most expensive stuff, yet they perform very close to the most expensive stuff. So we're gonna try out setup number 2 now. All right. First hit with this, we are already at 346.8 and 178 ball speed. So I don't recall ball speed specifically, but I want to say that's already like about 14 miles an hour faster. And what, 40 yards further? All right, 328.7. Just broke 180 ball speed, 180.1. 333. At 352. Basically 180 ball speed. We'll round up 0.1, but yeah, crazy. This setup is just so much further. 335. 333. Final ball, 331. All right, big difference between the two. So you can see why certain times, depending on your equipment, it does make sense to pay for an upgrade. My best ball was nearly 50 yards further. On average, probably 30 yards further on my best balls. So kind of wild. The thing I noticed right away is I've been using these better shoes for a little bit now. Those old shoes, they just roll so easy. And with the amount of force I'm able to put into the ground with my feet, you just need something more stable. So that to me just felt giantly different. I know that having a faster swing speed, the harder the ball is, basically the further it goes. So most people using this Callaway Supersofts, it honestly might not cost them a lot of distance. If you swing 90 miles an hour, there's a chance the Callaway is actually a further ball for you. But if you're swinging for sure over 110, I've seen all the data on 115 plus, then the harder the ball is, it's going to go way further. A harder ball can easily get you 20 yards further. So that's probably the biggest improvement. Usually what I say on clubs, just a general rule of thumb, you get about a yard a year. So the R15, I'll look it up, but it's probably like 12-year-old now. This one I think is 4. So 8 years newer should get you about 8 yards. Like I said, it's just a rule of thumb. It's not fact. And then the shoes, that's going to be a bigger upgrade for the better player you are. If you're not very good and you no issue with traction or using your feet, then probably not going to be an upgrade. If you use the crap out of your feet, like I said, my feet were rolling all over the place. Shoes are a pretty decent upgrade. I did another video where I upgraded my shoes versus another shoe that was good, and I added just 7 yards just on footwear. So you definitely can buy distance, and if you go about a smart way, it's not that expensive. The final results are pretty wild. Average, it was over 30 yards on my best hits further. I think my furthest was near 50 yards further than any of my other ones. So pretty massive upgrade for $300. I think most of the time people buy these equipment like a brand new driver, you're spending $600-700 and maybe you get 5-10 yards. So if I were to buy equipment and I was trying to like peak my numbers, that's basically exactly what I would do. Is I would look for a driver that's about 3 years old. You can generally find these brand new for like $300. I think that's a great way to go about it. Golf balls go on sale and you can get those for pretty inexpensive. Like I said, when I got the Srixon XV Z Stars, they were buy 2 dozen, get 1 for free. And they're very well priced when you do that. On Amazon, I found you can get golf shoes depending on the size and color for very inexpensive. The shoes I got were $55. I think they retail at like $180. So if you're smart about just looking for equipment, you can get pretty big upgrades for not much money. And I would not go buy the latest and greatest top of the line stuff. Kind of what I've found as I test all these drivers is that a brand new driver will get you about a yard further every year. So if your driver, like the first one I had, the R15, I want to say is 12 years old, and you went to a brand new one, you might gain a little over 10 yards. But if you have like a 3-year-old driver and you're buying a brand new one, you might just gain 3 yards, which honestly is not very much. So just keep that in mind when you're purchasing stuff. Alright, finally, I wanted to make a disclaimer for this video. The increase you will see buying equipment will vary greatly depending on your skill level. As I've gotten better and faster, one of the cool things is equipment makes a bigger deal. So if you're someone that swings faster than I do, you probably honestly will get better results than I did. If you're someone that swings slower, you're probably not going to get quite as good results. And honestly, if you're someone who swings really slow, like say you swing like 80 or 90, there's a chance that the first setup might go further for you. So the softball specifically, if you swing slow and you can fully compress it and you're getting like max distance out of it, going to a hard ball, you're probably not going to be able to compress all the way, so the ball's probably not going to go as far. So this setup for a faster swing speed player will add a lot of distance. If you're on the slow end, it might not add any. If anything, it might cost you a little bit of distance. So just a heads up, but still a fascinating comparison that for $300 you can buy almost 50 yards.